Hi and welcome back to the cottage. Today I want to share some surefire ways that you will know when you are holding on to too much stuff. So if any of the items on this list resonate with you, you might be in for another round of decluttering. A lot of times when we are going through a decluttering process, we will ask ourselves a series of questions. As we go along, we might worry that we aren't doing enough, we're not getting rid of enough, and then the further along we get in that process, we might worry that we're getting rid of too much. We struggle sometimes with finding that perfect balance, finding the right amount of items for ourselves to be able to manage comfortably. And I wanted to help you out today if you are having any of those types of questions, to give you some sure signs that will let you know if you still have too much. Some of the items on this list are really obvious and clear, and others are more subtle and might make you be a little bit more introspective and think about them. Either way, if anything on this list resonates with you, it probably means that you have not gone far enough in your decluttering process and there's still more work to do. Now, I don't want this video to come across as me pointing my finger at you, telling you you have more work to do and I have it all figured out, because that's really just not the case. The only reason I can even come up with a list like this is because in my own family's process of decluttering and simplifying and finding that balance, we have felt and experienced every single one of these items on the list. And so you are in good company if you are having these same types of feelings and thoughts. All right, let's start this list off with a pretty obvious sign that you have too much, and that is when you can't find the things that you need when you need them. So if you're getting ready to leave your house and you can't find your car keys or your shoes, your kids can't find their backpacks or their lunch boxes, it probably means that there's too much for you to manage. Another very clear sign is when you can't contain the things that you have. If you're finding yourself shoving things into drawers or very carefully closing closets or cabinet drawers or doors because you're worried something is going to spill out, that probably means you have too much as well. You have difficulty relaxing in or enjoying your home. Now, I talked in the last video about how humans have an innate desire to make their homes their haven, their safe place. And when they are cluttered and filled up and there's just too much chaos going on and it's not feeling like a haven to us, we are going to want to be elsewhere. You worry or feel bad if somebody stops by unannounced because you're embarrassed about how your home looks. Another clear sign is when the feeling of dread comes over you when you think about doing a specific chore. Now that might be doing the dishes or doing the laundry. Whatever it is probably something that has piled up over time. Maybe it's cleaning out a room that has been just kind of neglected for a long time. If you have that dread-like feeling, it probably means that there is too much to manage in that category. You stress out about choosing the right thing to wear, or getting ready in the morning takes a very long time. There are pots, pans, dishes, silverware, gadgets, etc. in your kitchen that you never find yourself reaching for. You have your favorites that you use regularly, and everything else gets shoved to the back of the cabinets or the bottom of the drawers. Another sign that you have too much is when you find yourself buying things and then later realizing that you already had that exact same thing, but it was just hidden away or you didn't remember that you had it. This one tends to be pretty common for consumable household items such as batteries or pens or some type of over-the-counter medication. You'll end up with the surplus of things because you just didn't have a good system in place and you had too much. You feel like your house is shouting at you. You've probably heard of the silent to-do list, the idea that every item that you surround yourself with in your home is giving you signals constantly, kind of a subconscious thing. Your floor is telling you it needs to be swept. Your dishes are telling you they need to be washed. Your clothes are telling you they need to be folded or hung up. And when you get too many of these little silent signals that are going on, it's going to start to feel like a yell and it's going to be overwhelming. You miss deadlines, such as paying your bills on time, returning library books, or signing permission slips. You start accumulating random items that you don't know where they go to. It might be a piece of a game or a puzzle. A notorious one that we dealt with a lot was keys. You don't remember where that key even goes to. If you have more than one drawer that is dedicated to miscellaneous items, you could call it a junk drawer, you could call it a miscellaneous drawer. If you have more than one of these, it probably means you have too much. If your purse or wallet is bursting at the seams and you are uncomfortable sitting on your wallet or carrying your purse, it's hurting your shoulder, it probably means there's too much in it. You need to move things out of the way in order to sit down on a chair or couch or lay down in your bed. Another clear indicator that you have too much is when your attic, garage, or storage space is filled up with boxes and bins that you have not opened in years and you don't even remember what's inside of them. If you have a special spot in your closet or somewhere in your house where you keep gifts that have been given to you that you don't even really care for. There are items in your home that you cannot find the match to. Socks, gloves, or a great example, Tupperware lids that you cannot find the perfect match bottom for. If you're finding yourself having difficulty making decisions about things, what book to read next, what meal to cook, what shoes to wear, it probably means that you have more options available than your brain is able to handle. You can't park your car in your garage, or you trip over things that are scattered across your floor. You might have too much stuff if you rent a storage space off-site, or if you find yourself constantly building new sheds or garages to contain all of your things. Another sign that you have too much is when you have gotten especially creative at hiding or storing things away, packing it in. This is one that I personally was very guilty of. I used to do this all the time. I would Jenga everything together and shove those closets and drawers and cabinets completely to the max, and it would drive my husband crazy. When you're finished setting up your Christmas decorations and you find yourself putting 1 or 2 full bins back into storage because you didn't use any of the ornaments or decor inside of them. If there are no clear, flat surfaces where you can work, I've said before on this channel that those horizontal surfaces, they tend to be magnets for piles and setting things down, but they are really meant for working. And so if your desk is covered, your countertops are covered, your vanity in your bathroom is covered, your dining room table is covered, these are no longer spots of work and you have too much. You have a stack of magazines or books on your coffee table and no place to put the coffee. The saying out of sight, out of mind does not apply to you because you know what is hiding behind your kitchen cabinet or your closet door, just an avalanche waiting to happen. You know it's there, you're always thinking about it. That's a very clear sign that you have too much. You find yourself making piles everywhere, piles of papers, piles of laundry, piles of dishes. Little piles indicate there is too much, and those items in those piles probably don't have a place to live inside of your home. You have duplicates of the same types of things. You buy an item to replace something, but then you end up not getting rid of that first item, so you end up with 2, and then you buy something new and you end up with 3. A really good example that we have struggled with in our home is tennis shoes. You get that new pair and then you demote the other pair to be the shoes that you wear for mowing the lawn or doing gardening. And that's all fine and good until you end up with 5 pairs of shoes. So that is a clear sign for me when I start to have that thought of keeping those duplicates that I am keeping too much. You hear your kids say, "I'm bored," on a regular basis. Now, kids are the same as adults. If they are confronted with too many options, they have a hard time really making those decisions. And so them saying they're bored probably means they have too many options, too many toys, books, video games, or the like. You would be surprised at how imaginative and creative kids can be with very, very little. You don't feel like you have time to do enjoyable things at home because you're spending too much of it dealing with cleaning or sorting, organizing, filing things away, moving things around to make space when you'd much rather be doing reading, sewing, painting, or some other hobby. You might have too much if you're starting to feel tensions between family members in regards to things. So you're getting annoyed at your kids for not putting this or that away, or you are upset that your spouse doesn't seem to be carrying the same burden of cleaning or organizing in your home. And that's a pretty clear sign that there's just too much to manage within the space that you have. You have a dedicated shelf or cabinet for special things that you have not looked at, picked up, or dusted in a very long time. There's difficulty moving around in your spaces. The rooms feel full. You have items that you purchased that never made it out of the bag or Amazon box. If it takes more than 10 or 15 minutes to get a space tidied up or back in order, it probably means that you have too much stuff, because it really should not take that long. Your family eats most meals either separated in different rooms or in shifts because the dining room table is covered and inaccessible. And finally, a clear indicator that you have too much is when you are feeling burdened and overwhelmed by the amount of items that you have. Now, I've said before that clutter only becomes clutter when it is a burden to you. And so you might be able to manage more things in your home than I can in mine, and that's perfectly all right. But when they become a burden to you by any of the other items in this list that I mentioned, you start feeling that overwhelm, that feeling of just being pressed in and burdened by all of these things, then that is your sign to stop and to reevaluate the number of belongings that you have. And I know that you will be amazed at how much freedom you will feel when you start to get rid of that excess and bring everything down to a very manageable level. It has been life-changing for me and my family, and I know it can be for you as well. So if anything on today's list really spoke to your heart and you feel like you need to make a change, you are ready and you want to make that change, I encourage you to check out many other videos that I have here on my channel that will help get you from realizing and recognizing that you have this problem to really finding that solution and breaking free from the cycle of clutter. I'm going to link my favorite videos down in the description box for you to check out next. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope that you'll stop by the cottage again really soon.